Hey guys, it's Sabrina. So I'm back for another budget with me. This is my January budget with me. This is all the things that I use on my budget planner. I use the budget book from Happy Planner, the sticker rolls, the little sticker pad, and the accessory pack. So I start off by putting on my monthly page every bill that's due. And I'll put how much. January's bills haven't generated yet, so I don't know how much they are, but I do need to put on what days they're due. And this month, luckily, our car insurance dividend hit from USAA, so our bill will be a little bit cheaper, so yay for that. On the next page on the bill pay checklist, I just go through and write down all of the bills again. And I do mark my husband's payday on there. If you haven't watched my other video, my other budget video, I am a stay-at-home mom. And I just put my no spend on there. I'm planning on not spending anything on planners, nothing extra this month. I'm fully committed to saving money this month. And put a little reminder on there for myself, no spending on planner things. So like I said, I go through and I put down all of the bills that I know how much they are, and I'll go back and put the due date later. But there are some set bills that I do know exactly how much they are because I set how much, and we usually do way more than the minimum just to counteract the interest on the credit cards. I do also mark for myself, just to remind myself what's on auto pay so I don't go through and double pay. This page I use for my expenses, so it's not exactly a bill, it's just expenses that we have. Like, we have set amounts that I put aside for the baby, for her diapers and her wipes, for groceries, and I meal plan, and I also would do a video on how I do that. I usually am able to stay right at that $350 limit. This month I think I'm actually a little above just because it's Christmas, obviously. At the bottom of this page, I do put the payday, our expected bill amount, and then what we have left over. So that may vary depending on, like, if we eat out that month, we'll have an extra, or if we don't eat out, we'll have an extra $50. There's no telling how much we'll spend on gas, so. And I always put the account balances at the end of the month. So that's why I put January 31st, so I can go through and do a outlook on my bills at the end of the month just to see. Here I start to calculate my sinking funds. So basically I went through, and for the next 5 years I sat down and I planned out Christmas, Happy Planner releases, my daughter's new clothes, Black Friday, her birthday, everything. So we also go to this gaming convention, so I counted that into our sinking fund just so we have some extra spending money for the hotel and our tickets, because tickets aren't on sale yet, so I want to have money to be able to purchase that and not worry about it when it comes. This year I spent entirely too much on the Happy Planner release, so I set myself a certain amount of money for each thing. So like Christmas, I have $300 that I'm going to be setting aside. And my daughter's clothes, I set for like $150 for the spring and the winter, so she'll get new clothes. If she has enough clothes, that obviously just stays in savings and we won't touch it unless we have an emergency, obviously. But I'm planning on putting $300 into our savings each month, because that is all of my sinking funds as well as an extra $100 every month for saving for our house that we're going to be getting next year. So we'll have roughly about $1,800 by the time we move into our house as a down payment, and I know that's not a lot, but it's something. I am going to go through and put a section in my budget for how much I spent on each person this year for Christmas, and that way I'll have a better idea if the 300 does need to be raised or if 300 will be enough for next year, because we're trying to pay off our credit cards. We did have to use some credit cards for some presents this year. The goal for next year is to just use our savings versus credit cards. And I rounded it up to the nearest, either like 25 or 30. I rounded that up. So Christmas came out to roughly about $22, but I rounded it up to 25. And my daughter's clothes, that's $40. It's savings for like 4 or 5 months just to be able to afford clothes for her. Happy Planner came out to $30, so I'll have roughly about like $370 to spend on my Happy Planner releases. QuakeCon is what the convention is called for like video gaming things. That's like $70. And at the bottom, I'm also going to be putting our credit card balances. I like having everything in front of me each month just so I can see what I need to work on. And credit cards have definitely been a devil recently, so we're trying to get those paid down by next year. And we'll be using our tax return, anything that we get back from that. So we do have about 4 credit cards. Each one I try, like our Chase credit card, I think our minimum payment is like $30, and I put $250 towards it every month just to like pay it off super quickly. Micro Center, I think it's like $40, so we put an extra $20 towards it. The Nebraska Furniture Mart, it's $100, but we put $150 for interest. And GameStop, I'm going to be changing how much I actually put on there, so I put $20, but I'm going to be putting more like $50 towards it. And I was listening to a podcast, I think it was one of Rachel Hollis's podcasts, and it was the one about the budgeting, and the lady that she was speaking to said, make sure you plan out your bills so it's rounded down to zero every month. So the $325 that we have left over, I can always put towards extra bills, and we have money in savings that we can pull for an emergency, so I'm probably going to be putting a little bit more towards each credit card. And coming up in a couple of months, our rent is going to be raised, so it's good that we have that extra $325 every month just to fall back on if we don't put it towards extra credit cards. So that is it for my January budget. That's just how I put everything on there. So if you guys have any questions about how I sat down and I planned out my sinking funds for the next 5 years, just let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you. Have a great day.